Hello everybody, welcome back to Creation Meds. Let me just make sure everything looks good on YouTube before we go any further. Let's see, can I hear me? Can I see me? Sorry everybody, just want to make sure everything's good before I do anything else. How's everybody tonight? Still waiting, making sure it goes through. Alright, it looks good, looks fine. Chat, let me know if anything looks awry in terms of the video or the sound. I'm going to be sharing my screen in a minute. So just let me know if anything looks weird, but it all looks good on my end. So I think we're good to go. Hi, everybody. So welcome. What we're doing here is basically just, for no real reason, I figured this would be fun. And so figured just do it. Uh, Marvelous. Thank you. I appreciate that. Look, thank you. I appreciate that. I can see on YouTube that for once the resolution is not, I don't look like I'm in Minecraft. So that's good. I like seeing that it works. I don't know why it works sometimes and not others, but we're good. Yeah. How's the end of the semester? Today was my last class of the semester. I got a final exam review and the actual exam. So we're over the hump. We're doing great. Thank you for asking. So why am I doing this random stream on a Friday night? Because I have been posting my recent videos to various evolution and creationism Facebook groups. So basically, all the videos I've been doing in my series that are basically like the really quick, like here's how you defeat this argument kind of series, where it's like the 10 or so minute long videos of just here's the argument, here's a quick refutation, done. And then maybe there'll be like here's how creationists are going to respond, and then here's what you say to that kind of step to it. So I've been posting these on a solid half dozen like Facebook groups. And the comments you get in these Facebook groups are incredible. I would say they are unbelievable, and when I say that, I mean that literally. You have to see them to believe just how bad they are. And that's what we're going to do here tonight. So what I want to convey to the YouTube audience is how good we all have it here on YouTube, because we all know the caliber of comments that we get from creationists, both the ones that are doing the the actual like streams and debates and stuff. We know how bad that stuff is. But then there's also the comment debate bros, and we know that those are a level down from the people who actually like putting themselves out there to make content on YouTube. Now you go over to Facebook, and oh my goodness, it is a million times worse. The comments you see on Facebook make the commenters on YouTube look like geniuses. It is incredible the level of just lack of reading comprehension, refusal to answer direct questions, refusal to engage with the point you made, and the degree to which it is obvious that these people commenting basically just have like a document that they've written over the years, and they just like copy and paste from that document, and with no editing, it's just straight up just keywords, I think is what it is they read a certain word in a post, and then they have kind of their response to that word independent of what the actual content of the post is. And this is a really interesting question from Icarus. Have you checked Reddit? Is it worse than Facebook? So that's such a funny question, because I have been doing Reddit anti-creationism longer than I've been doing YouTube anti-creationism. I actually started with the debate evolution subreddit in like I want to say like 2014. And I'm one of the mods there, along with, you all are going to find this hilarious, a bunch of the other science friends. That's actually where a bunch of us first met, was on the debate evolution subreddit. and then we kind of migrated over to YouTube years later. But so not just me, but a bunch of us are familiar with the Reddit folks. And yeah, Erica's another one where kind of started over there and then came over here. And I will tell you that the Reddit creationists are so much better than either the Facebook or the YouTube creationists. It's so it's indescribable how bad the Facebook creationists are, and then the YouTube creationists are also really bad. The Reddit ones have at least a little more sophistication, I think, in terms of the arguments. And I think because Reddit is a fully text-based platform, but then Facebook is fully text-based, so that doesn't work at all. That doesn't make any sense anyway. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Some of the Reddit creationists, well, I mean, there's some that are really awful and just use AI for everything. Sal Cordova is over there and just spams the crap out of the creation subreddit, you know. Um, but there are some that are better. And then the YouTube, we get a range. The range on Facebook is as wide as the range on YouTube or Reddit, and a million times worse. So what I want to do here is just show some of you some of the awful comments I've gotten on this video that I just put up a couple days ago, this one on how information requires intelligence as long as you ignore all the times it doesn't. So I posted this in a bunch of different Facebook groups, and I'm just going to show you some comments, not even like deep in the threads comments, just like top level comments on my post. And before I show these, I want to basically tell you that I structured the post on Facebook the way I structured the video, basically saying, here's the creationist claim, here are 3 papers that show it's wrong, here's what I expect creationists to say in response, right? And the things that I expect creationists to say would be, well, the authors, they designed the study, they built in the information, or you could go full origins or bust, and they would go, well, sure, that's information, but what about the first cells, right? How did that start in the first place? Or, something like that, where it's, well, the experiment uses living cells. How do you get the living cells, right? So I'm saying that up front. And then you will be completely shocked to hear that that's what a bunch of people said. So I'm gonna pull up some of these comments that I've screenshotted so that we can all appreciate these together. Before we do that, from Chip, for a super chat for $2, there's such a thing as a good creationist. Look, we're grading on a curve, okay? We are grading on a curve where good means reads the thing they are responding to and responds to the points in that thing instead of just saying something off topic, right? Or just insulting me, because there were a bunch that were just calling me stupid and a liar too. Which, yeah, that's pretty typical on Facebook, so, So let me pull these up here. Got them right here. Let's do it. Let's see if that works. Yeah, that's good. Is that size okay, chat? Is the text big enough that you can all read it? Just let me know when you see that, if it looks okay to you, and then I'll go through these, and we can read them together and appreciate just how silly this is. All right, you can read it. Great. So again, remember, this is a response to the video that I put up just a couple days ago. The video was about how creationists like Dr. Stephen Meyer from Discovery Institute will very often claim that if you have information in some form, you need intelligence to generate that information, right? Or short version is information always comes from a mind, right? And we've got 3 experiments. It's the NEAM 2017 bioactive RNAs and peptides. You've got the Yona 2018 random sequences acting as promoters. And then the recent, I think it was Gianni 2026 with that 45 nucleotide ribozyme. All of these are from random sequence libraries, and they're just like checking the random sequences. So the point is that you're generating random sequences, and that results in a new function, right? A functional promoter, a bioactive peptide that improves fitness, right? Something. So, so let's see what the comments were in response to this. Oh, and I should note again that, remember, I said, like, I expect people to say that they built in the information, or they'll just go full, like, well, what about abiogenesis? So here is Mark. And by the way, I'm not hiding any of these names because these are all people speaking in public on Facebook. So, like, I'm not editing the names out. I'm just too bad. If you don't like it, folks, don't say dumb things on Facebook. Too bad. So Mark says, here's a study where a random letter generator, after 4 years and 45,000 pages of characters, created a complete sentence that was human readable. This is proof the entire Library of Congress spontaneously came into existence, and there were no authors for those texts. That's your argument. That's not my argument, Mark. Tell me, in those 3 studies, what happened with the new data? Was it allowed to continue to evolve? Was a new life form created, or was it just random data that, as the process continued, ended up self-deleting? I don't think Mark knows how experiments work. Does anyone? I don't think Mark knows how experiments work. The question was, can random sequences do X, right? And whether X was operate as a promoter, be a ribozyme, right? You generate random sequences and survey for, you screen for the activity. That's it. It has nothing to do with, like, did it keep evolving? Did it self-delete? I don't even know what that means. It's just incoherent. And this was one of the good ones. This is one of the less bad ones. We've got Jay here. I might have multiple from JR. So he says, first, that is an incomplete study. And then he goes full God. Second, there is nothing truly random. God decided and decides what side of dust is going to land on the surface somewhere no human will ever walk. So, yeah, he's just going to go all scripture. And this thread continued, and it was just like this, the rest of the thread. It was not great. It was not great. So that's one way to refute, like, here's some experiments, but have you considered scripture? Actually, sir, I have. So you're going to have to do better than that. But this is actually a representative example of fairly common things that you see where it's just Bible verses in response to whatever science it is. Which, look, great, but not going to persuade people who don't already agree with you. Yeah. This is... Chip says, you're kind of scaring me. I'm assuming that was when I said that it only gets worse from here. And Chip, buckle up, buddy. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. We're straight past have you considered nuh-uh, and now we're on have you considered 20 Bible quotes. Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing here. So I actually think most of these people are real people. There are a few posts in there that are very clearly like AI written, whether it's a bot or it's the person just feeding my stuff into like ChatGPT and saying respond to this and then pasting it. There's a few of those, but for the most part, I think this is real people, which makes it worse. I think that makes it worse. Yeah. So let's keep going. Then we have, here we go. We've got Alex here giving me a list of reasons why evolution is a lie, and even they admit it. And it's all your favorites, folks. It's Nebraska Man, Piltdown Man, Neanderthal Man, Java Man, Peking Man. Like, we got all of them here. And then I don't know what's going on with Artie, because that's like an actual legit find. Like, I don't know why that's on this list, because that's a real thing right there. So, But, yeah, this was a new one for me. I didn't expect, because again, the OP that this person is responding to was about experiments generating biological function from random sequences. This is not that, right? This is not responding to experiments generating biological function from random sequences. This is somebody copy and pasting from their evolution is a poopy head document that they've kept on their computer for the last 30 years, right? So, I don't know how to respond to that. And by the way, you'll notice that you don't see the bottom of this post here. It's because I had to cut it off to make the screenshot fit. It was like twice as long. He just kept going. Yeah. All right. Here we go. This is one of those, like, I knew exactly what you were going to say, sir. So Mike says, every single one of your examples involves intelligent agents generating, manipulating, and choosing, which is exactly what I said the creationists would say, right? I said in my post that they would say, oh, the authors of those studies front-loaded the information. It's not actually random. It's that they in designing the experiment, putting it in there, right? So information doesn't come from intelligent source. If you believe it come from random, why don't you demonstrate that for us? That's literally what the papers did. Drink for a confirmed prediction. This is water, but we'll go for it. If you're playing along, drink responsibly. Gold standard, folks. Confirmed prediction. You could really prove all the creationists and ID guys wrong. Same thing, by the way. By showing us you believe enough to prove it, right? I also should note that a lot of the grammar was very difficult to parse. And you'll see that. Your genome is a finely tuned information-based system that is regulated, corrected, time-sequenced, and protected by information-based systems. Okay? Random chance chaos did not create something like this, and your studies here do not demonstrate that it ever could at all. So now we're going to abiogenesis, right? We're going origins or bust here, where we're saying, well, these studies didn't do what you said, but forget that. Abiogenesis couldn't happen, right? Oh, Zach, yeah, exactly. Markov chain Monte Carlo disproves the idea that random changes can't generate information. Yes, exactly. Like that is obvious. And then also I want to highlight this from Triceratops 18. Our genome is a freaking mess. Yes, it is. It is full of complete nonsense, and despite what creationists will tell you, the vast majority of it is non-functional, probably like 85 to 90%. And if they say, no, it does functions X, Y, and Z, you just say those require sequence specificity and only 8% of the genome is constrained by purifying selection. Explain to me what the rest does, and they don't have an answer. Let's see what the next comment is. Okay, oh, I love this one, because folks, he did the thing. Ready? J. Pat Rich did the thing. Ready? Read that sentence. The first sentence of your link in the abstract from that 2017 paper, it says this. Also, once again, grammar. It is generally assumed that new genes arise through duplication and or recombination of existing genes. The probability that a new functional gene could arise out of random non-coding DNA is so far considered to be negligible, since it seems unlikely that such an RNA or protein sequence could have an initial function that influences the fitness of an organism. He did the, quote, the first sentence of the abstract thing. The part where the authors state the problem or the question, and then in the rest of the paper, they're going to answer the question. And you will be shocked to learn, folks, that in that 2017 paper, the conclusion is, oh, look, it seems like random sequences can actually have an effect on fitness and therefore are a viable pathway to new genes. Like, this is exactly what I asked. I forget if it was this person or somebody else. Something to the effect of, from Petite Flower 5259, OMG, have you ever read an abstract before? Right? Do you know what the structure of a paper is, where you say, here's the status quo that we're going to address, right? Here's the problem we're going to solve. And then the rest of the paper is talking about how they approach that question and what they found, right? So you quote the beginning of the abstract as though that's the conclusion. You either don't know how to read scientific papers at all, or you're just lying. You're just doing the thing where you scan the paper for the first sentence that you think is helpful for your cause, and you stop there, and you don't read a word further, and you just clip that sentence out and call it a day, right? Now, despite that, I don't know if any of you continued reading this comment while we were talking about the first part, but this comment gets worse. Because look at what they said about the second paper. The second paper, remember, is about the promoters. It was a Yona 2018 Random Sequences Function as Promoters paper. Your second paper was also before epigenetics and non-coding DNA was understood, parentheses, 2018. And that aspect of the experiment nullifies the results completely. I feel like we understood what epigenetics was in 2018. And I'm basing that on the fact that I was alive in 2018 and was a biologist in 2018. And I'm pretty sure I learned about epigenetics when I was in grad school, which was before 2018, and undergrad, which was also before 2018, and also non-coding DNA, as in promoters. Now, the thing is, they were working on, in that paper, they were working on the lac promoter and the lac operon in E. coli, which is one of the most well-studied which is one of, I'm sorry, I'm reading a comment in the chat as I'm speaking. It was one of the most well-studied gene regulatory systems. It was actually, I believe, the first one. It was the it was the Minot study in the 60s, I think it was. I forget who were the co-authors. It was Jacob and Minot, I want to say, in the 60s, figured out how the lac operon works. So to say in 2018 we didn't understand the thing that that paper was about is incredible. Just incredible. And I've got, yes, and speaking of epigenetics, I've got Zach over here. Zach, you have no idea how bad this is going to get. Don't ever join any of these Facebook groups. Maternal effects were known about in the 1940s. I will literally set myself on fire. Zach, please don't. Minot and Jacob. Yeah, thank you. I got the names backwards, but I got the name. And I didn't say it was one person. Here, I will say thank you for our resident science historian in these fields. Minot, and they're French, right? So it's like Minot and Jacob. I don't know how to say them. But I know they're frequently miscited as Jacob so-and-so, but it's actually two people. But yeah, that was in the 1960s. That was the lac operon. That's the system that paper was on. That was not well that was before it was understood in 2018. I told you it gets worse with that second one. And then the third paper is a better example of what they're trying to say, but still fails. You are taking living RNA ribosomes. Nope, not a ribosome. Ribosome, not the same thing. The catalytic core of a ribosome, the structure made of polypeptide and RNA that does translation. The enzymatic core is a ribozyme, but you can't conflate ribozymes with ribosomes. They're different things. Enzymes facilitate action, can't be found in nature. Right, that's the point. So you found a new thing from random sequences that wasn't found in nature, and in no way insinuates new information was formed. I don't know how you draw that conclusion. And then he goes on about the time frame, right? It was 94% per nucleotide fidelity, and that took 72 days. Okay. I didn't say anything about how long it took. I just said, here's the thing, it does a function, and it was generated from random sequences. And how long it took to do the function is not relevant to the point I was making. Creationists address the point I was making. Challenge, level, impossible. Let's continue. It's so bad. All right, here we go. Now we're just going to go straight like Darwinism. So if you had Darwinism on your bingo card, drink. That didn't make any sense. You know what I mean. Let's say let's say it the way it is. You believe in Darwinism, a completely undirected process by which animals evolve. It's not Darwinism anymore. We've moved past that. It's not completely undirected, by which I think he means random, because selection's not random, whatever. And it's not just animals, it's everything. Okay, so you need the Big Bang, boom, origins are bust. Called it. Need the Big Bang, not too much of an anti-creator argument to say we evolved in a universe that was created. Most cosmologists are having problems with don't care. Didn't mention physics, didn't mention the Big Bang, didn't mention cosmology, don't care. And then the rest of this is he's doing Miller-Urey. He's doing Miller-Urey as though we haven't done anything in abiogenesis since Miller-Urey. Just amazing. I told you, folks, I told you that the Facebook creationists are worse than the YouTube creationists by a lot. And I think some of you didn't believe me. And I hope that now you believe me. What's this next one? This one's got a lot of reactions. Let's see. Oh, from Neil. Let's see. You're missing the key point. None of these papers show information from nothing. They show random sequences being interpreted by an already information-rich system. So there you go. It's not actually information from randomness. It's because there's like a system that has to utilize those sequences, right? The random peptides do anything because E. coli already has a genetic code. Okay. The random promoters work only because the transcription machine already knows what a promoter is. The ribozymes weren't discovered by chemistry. It was discovered by intelligently designed screening process. The screening process is the intelligent step. Amazing. The screening process is the intelligent step. So by generating a random pool of sequences and then screening them for a function, that is putting the information for the function into those molecules, and it's not new information from randomness. That is amazing that somebody could say that and like actually think that's a good argument. Amazing. You joke, TV's Mr. Neil, but there was, I forget if I included it in this, but there was one that said like, and the E. coli was still E. coli. Checkmate, atheists. So you joke, but that's literally the argument that people made. Yeah. It's not great. They're not sending their best. Let's see what else we got here. This one might be my favorite. I think this one's my favorite. You do know that random is just code for a sequence we don't understand yet. I'm literally speechless. What am I supposed to say? It's like, random is just code for a sequence we don't understand yet. Peter. I don't know. Like I said, this one's my favorite. I just want everyone to appreciate this. And then I want to hang this in a museum next to the Mona Lisa, because this is perfect. It's just, random is just code for a sequence we don't understand yet. Robert has this. Yeah, my math professors with like a word or 10. Yeah, I would like an explanation of what this means. I would love to understand this better. The most charitable possible interpretation of this I can come up with. The kindest way I can interpret this is Peter here thinks that we're somehow saying like random in the genome as in junk DNA, and then he's doing the you just don't know what it does yet thing. That's the best I can do here. And I don't think that's right. If anyone else can do a better job than that, understanding what we're trying to accomplish here, then go for it, because that's the best I've got, and it's not very good. And I really don't think that's good. I would love, yeah, you know what? Somebody, let's see what Grok says to this, because I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, so I think that one's my favorite. I think that one's my favorite. I've got a couple people saying that they agree with me, that that's what they were going for, that it was this convoluted junk DNA, we don't know what it does yet thing. Okay, I could see that. If a couple of you are going with it, then all right, I could see that maybe that's what it was. I don't know how how you get that from like the thing he's responding to, which remembers my video on information from randomness. So I don't know, but that one was my favorite. It was just, I got nothing. All right. And from John, classic. How did the RNA, bacteria, etc. come into being? The fact they exist, evidence of intelligence itself. Again, grammar, folks, please, grammar. Proofread your posts or edit them after. Just give it a once over after you post it and do the ninja edit real fast. The experiments also required great intelligence and ingenuity in a lab situation, not in a natural environment. I basically called that response word for word. Basically word for word. We've got Templar Warden here on the other side of that previous one. If I can just go back to this real fast. I think we've got, yeah. To be frank, I don't think they've quite realized what they're trying to say either. Yeah, that's, yeah. All right, so let me go back to this guy because I love this one, not because I have no idea what John is saying, but because I basically said this is what they're going to say. I basically said this exact thing, that the authors set up the experiments and therefore the information is from that, not from, whatever. I'm almost done torturing all of you, but I hope you can all see the preview of what's coming. There is some AI slop coming up in image form, and I'm saving it towards the end. Yeah. Just assumptions with no proof or any reasons to think it's random. Thank you, Alan Lawrence Means the Third. So this is, again, in all three experiments that I cited in the OP here, what they did in the experiments was random sequence library and then screen for something, right? Whether it was just an effect on fitness, or lac promoter activity, or ribozyme activity, right? It was random sequence library and then screen for some activity. Alan looks at that and says, no reason to think that's random. There's no proof that those sequences are actually random. Come on now. You don't actually think those are random. And, Petite Flower, I think, is really getting to the heart of the matter here. You expect people on Facebook to read? I think a better way to say it is that I would hope that people on Facebook would read the OP before responding to it. Right? I think that's what I would say. I would hope that you would read like 2 short paragraphs before spouting off, but apparently that is too much. So no, they're not just going to read. Yeah, I have no proof that they're random, even though it's right there in the experiments. Then we've got Bioferino M. Belloro. Evolutionists always magnify some things as proof of evolution. If I remember right, a pig's tooth became a man. Yeah, that was on that list earlier. Prove that life came from nothing, and there it is. Origins or bust. We're doing abiogenesis, folks, because it's always about abiogenesis, isn't it? Show all the missing links of all species, both in the animal, I love this, both in the animal and the plant kingdom, as though that's everything. Both animal and plant. Because that encompasses all of the organisms. That's all of them. It's just the animals and the plants. Explain the perfect placements of all body parts. I would like a word when it comes to the perfect placements of all body parts. I was just talking about this in class last week we were talking about digestion, and then we did respiration, and we went through the larynx and how the systems crisscross. And the reason they crisscross is that the respiratory system started as a pouch off of the digestive system, right? So when the respiratory system, the lungs and the trachea and everything, when they develop, it's a little, you have your digestive tube, and then it's a fold off of that tube, and it becomes its own thing. But it's always connected to the digestive system, and that's why you can choke to death, basically, because it's not two separate things, it's one thing, and that only makes sense in the context of our evolutionary history. And chat, by all means, please continue listing poorly optimized features of the human body. My favorite part is how stupid ankles are and how easy it is to sprain ankles. But using a structure that operates as a suspension bridge, your spine, for vertical support is a close second. Yeah, it's really dumb. And why are the eyes located up front of the head, etc.? Sir, you need to Google the term cephalization. You need to Google cephalization, and also look at jellyfish and other radial organisms that have photoreceptors all around. I think ctenophores do too, and some other ones. Yeah, ctenophores are biradial. Don't at me. I know they're not true radial. I know. It's not great. All right, let's continue. Then we've got Kerry over here. Oh yeah, Kerry's going, everything is designed. Even if you take it to the lower levels of the chemistry of atoms, the elements themselves show and demonstrate design. Space! Exclamation point. Can we all just appreciate space! Exclamation point. Why are these Facebook posts formatted like chain emails, like racist chain emails from the 2008 election that I got from my relatives? Why are Facebook posts formatted like that, like the anti-Obama emails from the 2008 election? The answer is because it's the same people. It's the same people. The people who were forwarding those chain emails in 2008, they're now writing the Facebook posts. Yeah, that's why. But it's exactly the same. And folks, if you know the format I'm talking about, you can't unsee it. It's the all caps, the random capitalization, the space, punctuation mark, which, by the way, I don't even know how you do this. Like on a phone or on a keyboard, how do you even do that? Acts like I don't know if that's a choice, but man, yeah. This is a good point. This is a really good point from Eric here, because Facebook is a chain email. These threads, it's basically chain emails. It's people with their like Ted Kaczynski documents, and they just like copy and paste parts of it, but instead of going into the chain emails, it's going into Facebook comments now. Yeah, it's yeah. It's not great. Also, can we just read, there's nothing in the universe that does not exhibit design from a super intelligence. But we're going to be really careful. I do want to appreciate how on brand Kerry is here in terms of sticking to the ID thing and not mentioning God or the creator. It's design and super intelligence, but we're not going to name what that is, which, if nothing else, being on message is, it's hard to be on message all the time, and Kerry nailed it. DNA and RNA, Matthew John, so I'm not even going to try. DNA and RNA aren't just chemicals. They function like coded instructions for building and maintaining life. Now, I am not a computer scientist. I've had computer scientists explain, and I've seen them explain why DNA and RNA are not like codes in the traditional sense. I'm not going to comment on that further. I'm just going to say people who know better than me would disagree with that. And then the second line is the key one, because of course we can't address the findings in these experiments. We're going to go abiogenesis, right? So I think the deeper question is, how does this kind of organized, functional information arise in the first place? We know the answer to that. God did it, right? Now we've got Bob Schneider. You misunderstand what information is. I love this. You misunderstand what information is. Information only exists within a context defined by intelligent beings. So you can't have random information because it can only be defined by intelligent beings. For biological information, like that contained in DNA, the context is the living cell. A dead cell cannot reproduce, even though just after a cell dies, all the information is there. Yeah. Yes. All the information is there, except there's some breakdown in how it interacts, because life is an emergent property of the chemicals that make up cells and, organisms, right? I don't know what this has to do. This is a situation where I remember years ago in one of the earlier rounds of Alex Jones' trials, I remember him just giving some complete nonsense word salad answer to some question. And the lawyer cross-examining him asked him, "What question do you think you are responding to?" And this is a perfect example of where you could use that. If I was talking to Bob face to face and he said this, I would say, "What argument do you think you are responding to?" Because it doesn't sound like it's the one I made. This is a hallmark of these comment threads, and we're only seeing a subset here in the Facebook group called, I think it's just called Creationism. My post on this had well over 100 comments at this point, and so many of them are just nonsense like this, where it's, yeah, exactly. It's exactly this. It's the "sir, this is a Wendy's" kind of comment. What are you even talking about? This is completely irrelevant to anything that anybody said. What are we doing here? Yep. We only have a few more, but now we're into the tail end here from Nathaniel Buzalak. I got a couple from him here. So where did the information come from for life? You need precisely coded and perfect DNA. How much DNA would life need to begin? And how would it know how to construct all this stuff for life? I don't know how to explain evolution to somebody who misunderstands evolution to this degree. I can explain evolution to somebody who doesn't understand evolution, who's never heard the term, who doesn't know what the field is about. I can do that. I don't know how to explain evolution to somebody who thinks they know a lot about evolution, but is wrong about everything. Because there's no knowing how to do it. There's no goal. There's no, I want to be alive, so I'm going to self-assemble. There's none of that. It's just chemical interactions and selection and inheritance, and that's it. And then you get more and more complex systems because you're selecting for stability and replication fidelity are the two traits that get selected for. That wasn't all from Nathaniel here. I'm going to call him Nathaniel, even though it's missing the E in Nathaniel. I'm going to call him Nathaniel anyway. That wasn't all from him. He actually contributed a lot of comments, but if I clipped all of them, this whole stream would have just been him. But instead, I want to show you this. Because what would a Facebook comment thread on evolution be without some AI slop? Yeah. I love the way atheists, capital A, atheists, try to separate abiogenesis from evolution. They're two peas in the same pod. The existence of one depends on the other. Where do they originate? I don't know why where they originate is down there. From abiogenesis to evolution, unbroken process. You're so close. You're so close. You're so close to getting it. You're so close. From abiogenesis to evolution, an unbroken process. This close to getting it. This close. Try to separate us all you want. It can't be done. I don't know what, they got the little march right there where it's, a lizard turns into I don't even know what you would call this thing. And then that's clearly a mammal. and then, yeah, we do this. I don't even, I would love to know what the prompt is. I had the exact same thought that I want to know what the prompt was that generated this. I would love to know. I have no idea what it was, and I would love to know because you have to remember, folks, this is not an act. This is somebody posting this who thinks this is like actually like, yeah, I'm going to get him post. And it's this. By the way, someone earlier mentioned that it's all boomers on Facebook, and I just want to point out that as far as I can tell, Nathaniel here is like younger than me. So, it's not great. All right, we have one more here. That was the second to last one. I got one more here. I don't even remember what it was. Oh, it was from this page, The Origin of an Eternal God. The above research does not prove what you claim. Your three references simply start with the DNA genetic code that was already filled with genetic information to begin with, and then mutates one or two nucleotides, and your result is a simple improvement in the activity of one parameter. What? That's not what those experiments did at all? Like, I've asked this of creationists, I don't know how many times at this point, but if you're going to respond to a study, know what the study says first. Like, read the methods first. Because what this person says, and I have no idea who this is because it's a page, not a person, right? Start with a function, mutate one or two nucleotides, and then you get improvement. And that's all it showed. That's not what it showed. Again, these were random sequence pools, right? Random sequence libraries, and you're screening for specific activities. And I don't know, again, I don't know what study this person is responding to, but it's not any of the three that I've referenced, right? And then, of course, they do the thing, not actually creating any new information by natural process. You're being altering, I can talk, the genetic information that already existed, altering it by fortuitous accident. Hey, origin of an eternal God. Can you give me another word for fortuitous accident? What's another word we might use for change that's due to a fortuitous accident? What other word might we use to describe such a change? Maybe random? Maybe we could just random. Just saying. Without examining the actual harm those mutations might have caused, or probably did cause. Yeah, they didn't. I don't know what to tell you. Also, yeah, you all caught it before I can even say it. Yeah, the origin of an eternal God. Eternal God have an origin? I don't know how that works. Yeah. So that's the last one that I'd clipped, folks, and I hope you all appreciated experiencing what I've been experiencing on Facebook for the last 3 days, because it's this. Like I said, the Facebook creationists are another level. The Facebook creationists make the YouTube creationists look good. We all know of some of the cast of characters in the YouTube, evolution and creationists sphere, right? We all know some of the cast of characters that are in there who have, just to name a few, you've got Nephilim Free, you've got Jungle Jargon with his very specific Y chromosome and mitochondrial stuff, you've got Bubblegum Gun who thinks speciation doesn't happen and thinks dogs and wolves were separately created, right? We've got characters here on YouTube, but the volume and the level that you see on Facebook is a completely different level. And as bad as some of the creationists on Reddit are, I swear, the Facebook folks make the Reddit folks look like absolute geniuses. It's incredible. So what I want to leave you all with is I want to encourage you to join some of these creationist Facebook groups. Some of them require their approval. Some of them are public, but As I understand it, they mostly just let people in, and some of them have tens of thousands of people in there, which is why you get a bajillion nonsense posts on everything. And I think that everybody who appreciates what we just experienced together should join those Facebook groups and experience it firsthand. Yeah. So this is a good question from Top Dog Shattuck. 60 Minutes released a video yesterday about life being created in a lab. I haven't heard of it, haven't seen it, don't know anything about it. Not my specific field. I'll check it out. All right, so folks, that's where we're going to end it. I see a whole bunch of people here. Please, before you go, like right now, hit the like button, please, before you go. And I love how a bunch of people are saying, why would I join Facebook? That would require I join Facebook. I'd have to go back to Facebook. I'm not doing that in a million years. Folks, you do you. I fully understand it. I get it. You don't want to spend time on Facebook, especially not in the creationist Facebook groups. I get it. I just, you have to take pleasure in laughing at some absurd things sometimes. And that's what the Facebook groups are good for. So that's where we're going to wrap this up, folks. I hope you found that as entertaining as I did the first time I went through those comments. It's a real trip watching the Facebook creationists try to make arguments, make any literal coherent point, write with proper grammar, read like anything. It's quite the thing. So thanks, everybody. I'll be back next week. Just previews here. I got a live show next Wednesday with Jackson Wheat. We're going to go over a recent paper on the Precambrian and the Discovery Institute response to that paper. It'll be fun. And then the week after that, Talk Pop Gen. Zach Hancock is here. He is debating genetic entropy with Paul Price on Wednesday the 13th. And we are going to do an after show for that debate right here. So there we go. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night. I will see you down the road.